Welcome back to the Fast Break. Friends, it is Friday, May 22nd. It's a beautiful beginning to a Memorial Day weekend. Hope everybody has some fun plans, get out on the water or whatnot, get outside. Um, we're going to do a quick pod for you before the weekend gets started because I'm going gaming. We are joined by Borat. How are we doing? How are we doing, Todd?
Very nice. How much? My name is Victor Wembanyama.
My neighbor is assholes. Victor Wembanyama, he is an asshole. If you are Oklahoma City, uh, yeah, let's get into it. Speaking of assholes, the New York Knicks took a 2-0 lead last night over the Cleveland Cavaliers that I think a lot of us had expected to come out of last night after how heartbreaking game one was. We haven't potted since then, so let's start with that comeback in game one. One of the craziest comebacks I've seen in the playoffs since probably Indiana and their 5 last year. But it was exciting as hell. I mean, I put some money down on the Knicks when I thought they were going to blow out the Cavs because they weren't able to make any shots. Cavs end up having a really good second quarter and third quarter to take a 21-point lead. And then the Brunson burner got turned all the way up. Jalen Brunson finished with 38, including a giant run by them to close the gap and force overtime in what turned into an absolute frenzy of a scene in Madison Square Garden. It had everybody going absolutely nuts. Timothy Chalamet, Ben Stiller, everybody was there going absolutely haywire, and just ripped out the Cavs' heart. No Josh Hart. And just an unbelievable game, especially after that game one for the Western Conference Finals too. Both game ones were absolute bangers. And I had a great time watching it. And of course, once the Knicks came back from 21 or 22 down to force overtime, you knew it was absolutely over in overtime, and they kind of smoked them in the extra period. So, Todd, what are your kind of thoughts on that game one from the Knicks? Honestly, a classic, an instant classic. And what did you think about game two as far as the Cavs coming back and being down 0-2 going back to Cleveland?
Well, that fourth quarter, Madison Square Garden in game one definitely made it an all-timer. I would say it gives the Knicks fans some sigh of relief after last season when they blew that game to Indiana. Game one, they kind of get some basketball karma coming their way in a positive way. And then last night, Josh Hart just popping off, really helping carrying the Knicks to a game two win last night and taking control of the series. I think we all suspected that the Knicks were going to win. They seem like they're the more talented team and are playing better, and certainly based on what seems like everybody wants from a fan perspective, probably had some juice from the league coming their way as well in terms of making the finals. So I'm excited to hopefully see Wemby and the Spurs in MSG here in a couple weeks.
Yeah. No, definitely after the Eastern Conference Finals game one last year with the Halliburton shot. I went back and watched that highlight last night a couple of times. Just still crazy that went down, and then the choke from Tyrese. But yeah, probably feels like kind of a monkey off their back to win this one and not go down one after a really brutal loss, especially if like Sam Merrill's 3 at the end of the game goes in and Cleveland ends up winning that game. It's a whole different story. And I think Cleveland could have potentially gotten game 2 because that's just such a gut punch emotionally to give up that lead when I mean I thought it was over. They were dead. So yeah, having to come back like that after what happened to them last year is probably a great sigh of relief and breathes extra confidence in them going forward in the series. Fun stat for you. Teams that were up 20 with 7 minutes to go I think it's in the playoffs, were 643 and 0, and now they are 643 and 1. So that's just kind of how improbable that comeback was. And then you kind of slowly started to see them figure it out. And of course, our guy, Big Game James, started to slip away in the fourth quarter. Turnovers, bad shots. It's just he's given us a couple Harden specials so far in this playoffs. And he wasn't much better last night as well, too. He did have 18, so I guess that's good, but he was shooting around 35%. So still not a great game from James. And he's just going to have to be better. I think he will going back to Cleveland at home, maybe a little less pressure and intensity on the game. He does a lot better. The cooler the stakes are. But that's the kind of loss that like ends a series, right? Like I think after that it was like, oh, it's over. If Cleveland wanted to win this series, they would have needed to win game one, especially in that fashion. If they would have blown them out by 25, I think there's a lot of confidence. You got the split. But that's kind of a series one. After game one, I was like, well, this is over because now the Knicks like have all this confidence and obviously went up 2-0. And I don't know what the statistics are on that, but teams that go up 2-0 win the series a lot of times.
Well, I just
Yeah,
didn't understand why Cleveland didn't try to get the ball out of Brunson's hands earlier in that game one. When
yeah,
you see that he's starting to cut the lead, I would say at 12 points, you got to say, look, we're not letting him get to single digits. You got to get the ball out of his hands and send the double at him and force OG to make a play. It looked like OG didn't want to take those 3-pointers that later on in the game when they did start trapping Brunson with the ball to get the ball out of his hands. They were leaving OG open. Didn't look like I mean, I didn't think he was making any of those 3-pointers. I liked his decision at one point to basically pass on the 3 and go to the basket and try to get a dunk. Didn't look like he was fully comfortable in that game one. And game two definitely looked a little bit better. I think, yeah, that game one, that was kind of Cleveland's opportunity. A little bit of a reminder of 2018 game one where LeBron had 50 and then J.R. Smith forgot what the score was. So,
yeah. Do
um,
you do
yeah.
you blame the Cavs coach for kind of that meltdown? I mean, obviously it's on the players and missing shots and whatnot, but Kenny Atkinson called one timeout during the 44-11 run that the Knicks went on to come back in that game.
I mean, he already answered that. He likes to make sure he has timeouts for the end of the game. That was the explanation. So,
It reminds me of the dumbass NFL coaches that are like holding on to timeouts and then they never get the ball back. It's like, well, you had them. You got to use them in those situations. I mean, I can't think of a better situation to use a timeout in than when a team's on a 44-11 run. I mean, that seems like a pretty good time to slow things down and get the guard and calm down for a little bit. So it's definitely on him a little bit, and obviously on the players for just missing shots. And they had good looks. They just started like missing shots. But
yeah,
yeah,
I think the lack of calling a timeout is one thing. I think the lack of adjustments defensively is a completely other thing. You got to get the ball out of Brunson's hands, or take James Harden out of the game. Do something. I mean, they had Ellis on the bench, who they had traded for, who's a pretty good defensive player. I don't know. And then obviously Evan Mobley, and I said this, I think the only way that they have a chance is if Evan Mobley really outplays Towns, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I think that's really the key to for them to unlock the best version of themselves is Evan Mobley, balling out, and he just hasn't. Obviously, yeah, it's easy to point the finger at James Harden. It's fun to point the finger at Big Game James, but I think Mobley is really the guy you got to look at and say, "Hey, man, you got to play better." So, they're gonna need everybody in this game 3 in Cleveland. I think the Cavs pull it out. I'd look for a big game from Mitchell. Mitchell should also get some of the blame pie if we're doing blame pie for that collapse. Took one shot, really. in that in
Yeah.
that in that fourth quarter, that the last 7.5 of that fourth quarter, just gotta demand the ball more and have to come through, for your team to be able to stop that run and win it. Because if it gets to overtime, you're not winning in overtime. I think the Cavs had already basically thought the game was over. The Knicks came back, and when you force overtime, it's kinda like, "Well, damn, we thought the game was over." One team was already, spiritually and mentally in the locker room. The other team was ready to finish the game, so tough game for Cleveland. I honestly thought that they would come back better in game 2, just because the Knicks had to exert so much, at the end of that game, and they didn't. The Knicks were in control of that game last night the whole time, so, um, go New York, go New York, go.
Go New York, go New York, go. Bing bong. Uh, no, I mean, with with a 20-point lead with 7 minutes left, uh, I mean, James Harden was halfway to Magic City by that time. He was thinking about where he was gonna go after the game, and then the Knicks and Brunson were like, "Not so fast, buddy." So, yeah, that's a tough one mentally to come back from. They did fight last night, I'll give that to them. Really close game at halftime. Great Knicks 3rd quarter. Couple of big runs in there. I think there was an 18:01, and I know there was at least an 11:01. Cleveland fought back in the 4th, got it down to 8. I was kinda excited. I was like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna get the reverse of game 1." That would've been pretty fun. But the Knicks just shot making down the stretch, and Cleveland missing free throws down the stretch. I was like, when I think it was Sam Merrill missed 2 free throws. I'm like, "Dude, you're a shooter." Missed 2 free throws when they were down like 10, and I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Alright, this game is over. If you guys are gonna be missing free throws trying to come back, it's done." Um, Really good team basketball by New York last night too, and shout out to Josh Hart. Josh Hart was fantastic last night. He finished with 21. The Cavs were just letting him shoot, and he was like, "Alright, fuck it. If you guys are gonna let me shoot," he was making them. So shout out to him, great role player over the years. Um, Brunson 19, Cat 18. You got a good Bridges game as well too. If Bridges is going to be on the top of his game, then they have a fighting chance against whoever comes out of the West, especially if the injuries start piling up and that series goes 7 and it's tough. Uh, he was really good last night, and props to Brunson for kinda getting everybody involved and Mike Brown for making adjustments, earlier in the game to look at a much more balanced Knicks offense, so that was impressive as well too. Part of it also was the Cavs bench was just really, really bad last night. I think they all shot like 20% or something like that. That'll get better in Cleveland. Obviously, role players play a lot better when they're at home, but that also killed them last night. And the MSG was just kind of rocking, especially the juice carrying over from game 1. It was just a tough environment to play in. So I the Cavs have been fighting. Obviously, they're not just rolling over. They got veteran guys and guys with pride. I do think they will get one in Cleveland. I'm not sure about 2 though, but I do think they will at least get 1. And I said Knicks in 5, and then it's probably Knicks come home, win game 3, or sorry, Cavs come home, win game 3, Knicks eke out a game 4, and then game 5, they wrap up the series, and I'd be correct. So that's kinda how I see it going. I think both games will be very close, though. And it'll come down to the closers, and when it's Mitchell, who has kinda gone MIA at points in these first 2 games, versus Brunson, who is automatic down the stretch, still is, uh, I'll take Brunson down the stretch in both those games. So, uh, I think it'll be competitive, but I think they split back in Cleveland. What do you think about going back to Cleveland?
It's all factories. Uh,
We go
Shout out
from
Joakim
there.
Noah. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't have much else to say other than, yeah, I mean, Brunson's just been a killer, and I think all the way around the Knicks just are, better at the top, better role players, right now out coaching Cleveland, just outclassing them top to bottom. I expect obviously Cleveland to throw the kitchen sink at this game 3, and if they can't pull it out, expect a sweep.
Yeah. Two things before we move on over to the West. Where would you rank Brunson as far as top closers in the game? I mean, you got Shea, who won Clutch Player of the Year, and then you got Brunson. There's a few other Luca can sometimes close out a game really well. I think Brunson, honestly, when he's on, he might be 2, and it might be top 2, and it ain't 2. No, but,
He's
definitely
not
top
ahead of
3.
SGA, but yeah, I
No.
and you know who's not on the list? Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. That's who's not on the list. Come on.
Yeah.
Finish the season, guys.
God.
Yeah, Brunson's definitely up there, and he better be. That's kinda what he's bringing to the table, but fuck, he's certainly delivered on that promise that he's made to Knicks fans, so I think when, you look at him in terms of comparing him to other guys in the league, yeah, I think SGA is really somebody that you could compare him to down the stretch in terms of being able to always get to a spot, and then if the defense makes a play to stop him, adjusting accordingly and finding the open guy, whether it's Josh Hart or OG. Uh, we'll see. We'll see if they do advance to the finals, how a player like Chet or Wemby affects a guy like Brunson.
Right, right. Wem Brunson against Wemby would be a real tough matchup, and obviously, Wemby against, Cat and Robinson is just fried chicken, so that would be tough. Actually, Mitchell or Robinson doesn't do a bad job against Wemby. Is he the
Doesn't
Wemby
Mitchell
stopper?
Robinson kinda look like Frankenstein?
Dude, he does. He's got the weird kinda, like, tufts in his hair with the headband, and he's just kinda a little gumpy, and
He's like Kevin McHale, he's very gangly.
yeah, and, I mean, I would see it'd be interesting to see what OKC or San Antonio did with the hack a Mitch. I think they gotta like their odds just fouling him as well too. That was bad last night. He missed his first 4. I don't know if I missed any other ones, but dude, some of those are bricks, bro. Some of them look like he's just throwing it straight at the rim. Like, he really might be better off doing it granny style, like throwing it back to, who was the guy from the Warriors? Rick Barry?
Yeah.
He really might be better off doing the Rick Barry. Um, but yeah, so that's always a
Yeah.
kinda
You know,
interesting
the
wrinkle in
the
all those
problem
games.
with the Rick Barry is that,
Rick
man,
Barry
if
was fucking really
If
good.
George Gervin or some really cool black guy show up free throws like that in the
Yeah.
'70s, way more people and, I mean, Rick Barry shot it at, like, a 90% clip. It just
Yeah.
looks whack, so people are like, "Nah, we're not doing that." But if somebody cool did it, then, maybe
Do
we're all
we
shooting
need
granny.
do we need Anthony Edwards to start shooting it like that, and then it's gonna catch on?
Yeah, Wemby.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if Wemby did it, we'd be like, "Oh, it's the French way." Let's talk about the West. A little more interesting over there. Tied 1-1. I did think that Oklahoma City was gonna come back and get that game too, and they had played really well. They made good adjustments. Um, Obviously, less of a heater of a game for Wemby, slightly. He's always great, but, it was interesting because Jalen Williams is out for OKC, and then Fox is still out for San Antonio, and then we lost, Dylan Harper
Oh,
as well too,
and he's questionable
which
for tonight.
I know, they're both questionable for tonight. Really hope he's able to play. You could clearly see that Shea and those guards were much more comfortable in game 2 without him on the court, and that's just a show of confidence to his defense, which has just been phenomenal, which was fantastic in game 1. So, if they're out, I think OKC can definitely go into San Antonio and take this game 3. If they both play, I think it will be San Antonio. Um, Jalen Williams doesn't necessarily matter as much for OKC as those 2 guys mean for San Antonio, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with that, but I think it's a much bigger loss for San Antonio if those 2 guys can't go versus if Jalen Williams can't go for OKC. Um, I think that swings the whole series if these guys aren't gonna be 100%. Um, yeah, it's disappointing because I want both these teams at full strength going at each other because it's just 2, hey, you know, heavyweights throwing haymakers. My boxing terms are a little slow. Give me a second. Uh, but it's just been a great game, and the desperation on each possession for these teams because they know like one possession could mean the game, and each game is so incredibly valuable with how close these teams are. So, game 2 was awesome as well. Uh, you had that corner 3. Who was shooting it? I can't remember, but there was a corner 3 for San Antonio to cut the game to 2, and then they missed that, and then Oklahoma City went down and got a bucket, and that pretty much ended it, as there was only, like, a couple minutes left in the game, but, um, another good game. OKC probably was a little bit more desperate, also pulling a lot more shenanigans on Wemby, which we should definitely talk about here, and but good bounce back for OKC, and you knew they weren't gonna lose game 2 at home and back-to-back ones. So, what did you think about game 2, and, what are your thoughts going back to San Antonio tonight?
Well, I think one of the main ways that you see the impact of not having Fox or Dylan Harper on the floor, and sorry, there's a leaf blower guy outside. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but hopefully
I can
that'll
hear it
get
a little
edited
bit, but
out.
hopefully
Uh,
the, editing tools will
yeah,
get that
yeah.
one. I'll put it
Uh,
on agriculture mode.
okay. One way you really see those guys impact not being on the floor is um Castle, man. He has really struggled basically being the primary ball carrier for the Spurs these first 2 games. 9 turnovers again against Oklahoma City in game 2, which, you know, I- he's of the San Antonio guards, always been one of the guys that can get a little out of control, but you take it. You allow him to, explore the space, because that's how you get the incredible dunks that you see him get. It's not that he's played terribly. He has played well. It's just the turnovers are are really starting to show, especially when, like I said, you lose now Harper on top of losing Fox. I think another thing that is a storyline coming out of game 2 is, like you said, Oklahoma City's physicality with Wembanyama. I think at one point we saw Hartenstein, I believe it was him. Was it Castle's hair? Was it either Castle or Vassell's hair? I don't know. There was some hair pulling. There was some stepping on ankles by, I guess, Chet on Wemby, purposely stepping on a foot. Just a lot of like little things, and then obviously grabbing Wemby whenever SGA is trying to get into the lane to prevent Wemby from coming over to play some help defense. Just little things that I'm sure that the Spurs are going to point out to the league heading into game 3. I do think Wembanyama's got to get involved offensively more early in the game. It felt like that was the difference. It was the first half. Oklahoma City outplayed the San Antonio by a little bit. I think Wemby only had like 5 or 7 points in the first half. I'd like to see him get in the paint, closer to the rim, involved in the offense a little bit more in the first half, whether it's lobs, pick and rolls. Um, and he shot 7 3-pointers this last game, made 3 of them. Felt like that was 2 or 3 too many. Like I said, I'd like him to maybe pump fake and just go to the rim, get to the free throw line. I think, sometimes you can see somebody that's tired settle for threes, and they were good 3-pointers too. They were open. I just when you're his size, I want you going downhill. I want you getting to the rim. And in game 1, he did that. Only took 2 3-pointers in game 1. Obviously, the one that he made is the one that everybody was talking to their mom and,
Yeah,
and grandma about. So, um,
and you
yeah,
want him shooting threes. You want him
no,
far away from the basket.
yeah,
Like,
and then Champagny also, he's got to make his open looks. As a 3 and D guy, but those are just some of the takeaways that I had. I really hope Harper is able to play tonight. And if he's not,
Yeah.
then hopefully he can get back on the court. I have a feeling that, if he's maybe gonna play, maybe not, then it's probably pretty bad. It's probably like, damn, like I would not play for 2 or 3 weeks if this was the regular season. So I that's a bummer because like you said, we want to see these teams at full strength. Specifically Fox, Harper, and Wembanyama for San Antonio.
Yeah, I thought the coaching changes in game 2 that Dagnall and the OKC staff made were good, and I obviously one of those was to keep Wemby a little bit farther away from the basket, because you saw how easy and automatic it was for him in game 1. So, that's a props to them, and I'm sure the Spurs are gonna have their adjustments for game 3 as well too. That really did change the game because the rebounding numbers were so skewed towards San Antonio in game 1. I think it was 60-40, and then in game 2, it was a lot more even, and you could feel that in the game, like, San Antonio wasn't getting those second chances, Oklahoma City was getting second chances, and Oklahoma City has enough good shooters to where if they're gonna get 2 or 3 shots on a possession, one of those is going to go in. So I thought that was a big adjustment, and played extremely well. Now he did some dirty shit too, pulling arms, pulling hair all over the place. What a kinky bastard. But they really got him more involved, and Dagnall in game 1 wanted to go away from him. He put him out there for a few minutes and was like, "All right, this is not working tonight." Game 2, they stuck with him more, and he played really well. I gotta give it to him, and it's just another one of those little good signings that they've made throughout the, rebuilding phase of their team that, these guys are just playing crucial minutes, and playing really well for them, because Presti's just a genius.
Well, it
Uh,
it also helped, prevent some of the offensive rebounding that San Antonio was getting in that first game, um, with Caruso and some of the smaller guys on him versus this game, you know, basically allowing him to shoot threes more, but say, "Look, yeah, we'll give you that. We're gonna have the bigs on the inside, um, pulling and grabbing you, and, boxing you out, preventing you from getting some of those easy offensive rebounds."
yeah, I agree. Well, I'm excited to see what the adjustments are for game 3 tonight. It'll be an exciting one, I'm sure. San Antonio will be rocking. You'll have all their weird fans with their wolf masks and whatnot howling after Wemby makes a dunk. So it'll be exciting. I think,
BBWs.
yeah, them big women in San Antonio
Shout
eating
out
their
Chuck.
churros. But yeah, it'll be exciting. I'm ready for it. But do you have a
Who would
prediction
who
for
would
each
Chuck
game 3?
rather get with intimately? Max
What?
Strus? Who would Chuck rather be with
Oh,
intimately? Max Strus or a woman from San Antonio?
Max Strus, for sure. He was thirsty for Max Strus. That's a beautiful man. That's a beautiful
Every
man.
time he's on the screen, wow, that guy's really good looking.
Props to Chuck. He probably didn't experiment much at Auburn, and now he's really coming into his own at 50 years old or however old he is. Um, yeah, no, that one went a little, that one went a little more. They're like, all right, Chuck, all right, man. But I mean, hey, he's a good looking dude. He's a good looking dude. But okay, predictions for game 3. I think Cleveland gets it done tomorrow night, and I think San Antonio gets it done tonight.
Yeah, I think the
Not a hot
Spurs.
take there. I mean, the teams being at home are gonna win, sure, whatever.
Yeah, I think San Antonio's gonna win tonight, and I do think that Cleveland is going to win tomorrow. Uh, yeah, no hot takes there, but I will say this. I think if Dylan Harper doesn't play tonight,
That's what I was just gonna say.
that that swings the game. I do
Yeah.
think that could lead to Oklahoma City winning.
Yeah,
Castle
if
Castle's just that's a lot on his plate. And they don't really have, I mean, McLaughlin's playing a little bit more than he should be now,
it's a
and
lot of Carter Bryant, who's good.
it
Uh,
felt like Carter Bryant played a lot more than he actually did last game. He only played 10 minutes, but it felt like, I don't know, it just felt like he was out there a little too much.
That's what I'm
Uh,
saying. It can be a little bit too much Carter Bryant. You kind of want him in there for 5 minute spurts to just like hound on defense. But if it gets to be too much, he can look like a rookie at times, whereas Dylan Harper doesn't. So if Harper and Fox don't play, I'm annulled on my prediction.
yeah, San Antonio's bench got outplayed badly in game 2, so they definitely need them to be able to compete with Oklahoma City's. It'll be interesting to see how Dagnall handles shortening the rotation. He continued to play like 10 or 11 dudes in game 2. Obviously double overtime in game 1, so maybe trying to just stretch the rotation out and make sure guys have fresh legs. But yeah, I think that's going to be important. Felt like Jared McCain came up really big for them last game, and if they're still getting contributions like that and Caruso off the bench, it's going to be tough for San Antonio. So I'm so excited for this game tonight. I think every San Antonio versus OKC game is just much watch. Gotta tell everybody to fuck off and gotta get to a TV to watch it.
You hear that? Do not text Todd tonight, okay? Let him enjoy his basketball watching evening. And I hope all you guys watch as well too. And thank you for watching us as well. Make sure to tell your friends. We did post a couple TikToks, so go on TikTok. The Fast Break Drew, I think, is the @. So go on there, follow it, repost it, or whatever you do. That would be greatly appreciated. All right, Todd. Good job by you, buddy.
Yeah, good job by you, bud. Love you guys.